Good day and welcome back to another DB Legends video. In this video we are going to be taking a look at how you can pick up the green Extreme Android 18 unit and Zenkai Awakener. Obviously the Android 18 unit has a lot of great value currently on DB Legends. It is obviously great to have her. She provides a lot of bonuses for a lot of the current events that are up. And her Zenkai does beef up quite a few girls units as well. So she's an interesting free-to-play option to have. I don't think she's obviously the greatest unit in the world, but it's always nice to pick up a new unit for free, and I think overall she'll be someone that's pretty good for the bench or for the health bonus, which is always a big value when it comes to units like this. So obviously in terms of the event, there are missions for the event, which I've just shown you on screen. The majority of them to do with clearing the challenges in the story event, and also to obviously do with raising the friendship of the unit as well. These challenges are pretty straightforward. The majority of them require you to use green characters, to land attacks with green characters, to do vanishing dodges, and of course to do switches. Most of them are pretty straightforward. A lot of them are only one or two. It's not like doing 6 or 7 vanishing steps or anything like that. So for the most part it's a pretty straightforward process actually. Obviously the Android 18 that you're required to obviously farm from the event is actually a unit that you're going to also need to be able to use in your team, so try and build around that, because you do need an Android 18 for a lot of the requirements. Now you don't necessarily need to use obviously this Android 18 specifically, but you do need to make sure that you use an Android 18. So as long as you make sure that you do that, you shouldn't really have any major issues, and you should be able to complete all the challenges pretty straightforward. Just make sure while you're fighting basically that you prioritize whatever missions you can, as that's going to be able to just let you knock everything out. There are missions for completing these stages as well, and there's missions for knocking out enemies, so there is incentive to retry the stages even if you don't clear the missions. So you still get quite a lot of advantage, or how should I say, you still get quite a lot of incentive to do the stages again even if you miss one challenge. So you don't need to clear them all first time. You will still have to knock out opponents, etc. So it shouldn't really be that big an issue if you maybe fail once or twice and have to redo the event. Now you should get enough Z power from the story event to pretty much get Android 18 to 7-star. Of course, she is technically available from summons as well, so you do have the ability to pick her up from summons, so you shouldn't really, again, have too many massive problems from that end. You can pick her up from summons as well. Some of you may have already picked her up, etc. So hopefully you've already got her picked up and you already have the ability to push her through. You're going to need to get her to 7-star before you are going to be able to Zenkai her. So even if you are obviously someone that's farming Android 18 or doing something along those lines, you're going to need to make sure that you get her to 7-star before you can Zenkai Awaken her. Otherwise it's just not going to be able to work out for you basically. But yeah, that's pretty much it. As you can see, we've skipped ahead to where I already have the missions all completed. Like I said, they were pretty straightforward. The majority of them were to do with using green characters, getting 1 or 2 key blasts, 1 or 2 physical attacks. Nothing remotely intense or too crazy. But yeah, obviously just again to make sure that you have an Android 18, but any Android 18 will do. It does not have to be the green one from the stage. At this point you should also have quite a few of the missions down, depending on how long it took you to complete the challenges, how long it took you to complete some of the stages, how many attempts you had to do. You should have a couple of the other challenges down, and you should have all of the current challenges down basically. You will then unlock 3 stages. One is the daily Zenkai or Z Awakening power stage, which obviously gives us the daily Zenkai Awakening power bonus, but also gives us an initial bonus as well, which is obviously very, very valuable. All of these stages Android 18 is going to be pretty good in, but as you can see, I'm going to be using the Android 21, who is pretty solid and does quite a fair amount of damage. So you can build your team however you want. You don't have to even use Android 18 to clear these challenges. As you can see, the challenges here are mainly to do with time. So you don't have to use Android 18. You can just simply do it yourself. So you don't actually need to use Android 18. You can just do it with whichever team you want, and then you'll be fine. Of course, Android 18 and her whole Zenkai process is pretty similar to the AGL Boo Pure Evil that we just had. So ideally you shouldn't have a massive problem in getting the process done. It's pretty stock standard from the story event point of view, and yeah, it's all relatively straightforward. So that's the daily stage. You only get one attempt of it per day, but it's a great stamina and ticket efficient way to farm the necessary Zenkai Awakening power. So that's obviously great value for a lot of players, I think, and it's something I always suggest people unlock, especially if you're low on skip tickets and that. It's a great way to just grab the Zenkai power daily and to obviously just kind of save yourself a bit of trouble. Obviously it takes a bit longer, but you know, for some people that is really the only method that they have. The next stage is again for Zenkai Awakening power, but this is the permanent stage. So this stage drops a lot less per attempt. You get between 4 or 7 per attempt. You know, it's a randomized figure, but yeah. So obviously you get a lot less technically per attempt, but you do obviously have the ability to run this permanently. So you do have the ability to consistently run this stage. You can skip ticket it, you can run it as many times as you want, and basically if you don't want to wait, you're going to need to skip the stage quite a few times, and you're going to obviously then get the Zenkai Awakening power. So obviously the big benefit actually currently from Android 18 is in the World Challenge raid. She gives you a bonus to Hoi Poi capsules, and it's based actually on her stars, not on her being Zenkai Awakened. So you're actually going to get more benefit from the initial Z power that you get from the stage rather than the Awakening Z power, because obviously that will increase her overall star rating, and thus will give you a higher drop bonus for that event. So that's obviously her main incentive right now. But in terms of her Zenkai Awakening, I actually think she's got a pretty decent Zenkai Awakening. It's not going to rock the boat. It's not going to blow anyone's mind. And I think, to say that would be a little bit silly. It's not something that a lot of people are going to see a huge amount of intrinsic value in. But it is obviously something that I think a lot of people still should do, even beyond just for the Hoi Poi capsule bonus currently. Obviously that's a great incentive, and I'm not going to deny that, but I think most people should still get value out of the actual Android 18 herself. She obviously gets quite a few abilities when she Zenkai Awakens, which is obviously great. Her raw stats go up, which is obviously fantastic. And she does boost green and girls, which includes quite a few decent units. So I'm not going to say that there's no real value in getting her. Of course, there isn't always the biggest inherent value in these units, because you're not going to get a huge boost comparatively to a big Zenkai for a big Legends limited unit or something like that. But I do think for the most part there's still a value. And you can see here, her Zenkai Awakening is pretty solid. We're getting some nice changes, nothing too crazy, but just some nice changes. Restoration more to her ki as well with some of her abilities. It's just obviously to give her good tempo, to give her a really, really good tempo and just ability to obviously keep in the fight, keep her combos up. So there is some pretty high value in regards to stuff like that. Not to mention also that as a unit, her raw stats go up quite a lot as well. So she becomes far more usable in a lot of content. Mainly the free-to-play stuff you're probably going to use her in. But yeah, I wouldn't be too surprised overall. And yeah, obviously there are some abilities that are locked, I want to say, behind her Zenkai, but they're pretty solid. Overall, her abilities that are locked behind the Zenkais are pretty decent, and they do actually help her out as well. So yeah, overall she looks really solid. And when I say solid, I mean for a free to play. I think she's got a pretty nice Zenkai, and the health bonus is very, very valuable. So even if she's just a bench unit, health bonus is very, very good. And when it comes to units, I think Green Girls has some pretty decent selections, I want to say. Obviously, just taking a look right off the bat, your main one's obviously the Android 21 Good, but you do have the sparkling Android 18 as well. You've got Super Saiyan 2 Kefla as well. You've got Vardos, which is a pretty nice pickup. You've got Urine, the Extreme Urine, which is also pretty good. She was actually a really sparking, kind of a really solid revelation, I think. At least for me, I really liked her kit from the anniversary. So yeah, overall I think there was a lot of decent options. And I think for the most part, a lot of people will find great value in this Android 18 beyond the obvious value, beyond the fact that she's going to boost your Hoi Poi capsules, etc. So I think, yeah, for the most part, you should be pretty happy. Of course, not everyone's going to be openly happy with everything. But I think, yeah, for the most part, at least for me, I quite like her Zenkai. And I think it just gives her a decent amount of usability and viability. Again, like I said, it's not going to blow anyone's mind in any capacity, but it is going to be pretty solid and pretty helpful overall. So yeah, obviously this is the final fight. This is just a challenge fight. The challenge fight does count for some of the missions, so you will have to clear it, but it is again pretty straightforward. She is a battle bonus character. You can see she is doing an insane amount of damage, and that's obviously because she does have the battle bonus. I do suggest Zenkai Awakening her, if I can suggest anything, just because by Zenkai Awakening her, you obviously get the raw stats bonus. You also get the upgrade to her unique abilities, even though you don't get the other two. So I do think there is some value to definitely pick up from there. So for me, I would obviously suggest that, but yeah, it's going to be up to you. You don't have to do it. Like I said, you don't even have to clear these technically with Android 18 at all. So it's entirely up to you. It's entirely up to your decision, and you should be fine realistically. But yeah, for me, obviously really great pickup. But yeah, for the most part, yeah, you don't need her to complete these challenges. You can use any Android 18, you can use any team build, you can use any green characters. So yeah, but I just think it's a good pickup, at least from my side. But yeah, that is pretty much everything that you need to know. Obviously there still will be some missions to complete, a lot of them still to do with friendship rank, a lot of them to do with clearing enemies, etc. Don't feel too alarmed or anything like that. You should be more than fine. So just give it your best shot, and yeah, you should be good to go. But that's pretty much it from me, guys. Obviously appreciate you watching the video. Leave a like if you enjoyed it. See you next time. Bye.